Wholeness, beautiful beings, welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and may this message find you well and whole. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for your comments and your reflections on what I share here for you, with you. We're all in this together. Living through our individual experiences, it's a bit of a challenge. It can be, and it can be incredibly blissful. It's just the wild ride of existing. So yes, in general, I'm okay. I'm just taking a nice study break. I've been studying for 2 hours. That's my max. I no longer try to pull the 4 to 6, 7 hours, that I was doing last year because of procrastination. It's like a little goes a long way. You do a little every single day. There's tons of pressures I was going through, but your homegirl has found herself studying again. And this is something completely different that I will go into and after it's completed. But yes, there are many balls that I'm juggling right now, and it feels good. I feel refreshed. I will say I'm putting more emphasis on when it comes to self-care, the simple things that we tend to bypass, right? The mundane, the mundane tasks of everyday living that either we neglect or we just really don't think about it. It's just automatic, like brushing your teeth, right? Or straightening your hair in the morning, or styling your hair in the morning, or making up your bed, making hot tea. I'm all tea all the way. I'm not a coffee drinker. I just cannot. It smells nice, but I can't. It's too hard on my tummy and my heart rate. So no. But things that we usually allow to just be part of just the everyday. And I was thinking the other day in meditation, I'm like, wow, this thought came up because, when you're in meditation, you're not trying to do anything, right? You're not trying to reason with yourself. You're not trying to, it's actually the perfect time to just do nothing, think nothing. And when you have those thought forms that pop up, that bubble up, you observe them. You become the ultimate observer of those thoughts or things. They're not something that you're trying to attach yourself to. You observe your ego, creating stories from those thoughts. Anywho, but on today's topic, it's about how to turn your mundane self-care tasks into magical moments. And I remember reading Be Here Now by Ram Dass. I think he wrote in the early or late 90s. I'm not sure, because he did suffer from a stroke towards the end of his life. But I remember between, I think it was the year 2021 to 2023, I was on my Ram Dass kick. So I was watching old recordings, old videos, old talks. And then I read the book, which was phenomenal. It went into basically the beginner's guide for meditation, and how to meditate and the importance of the benefits of meditating and all that. But awesome mind and spirit that he had. I don't fangirl gurus, because we are the ultimate guru at the end of the day. But there was something, there was a general message in one of his chapters that in the book, Be Here Now, where he was saying you get to a point in your meditation practice where all things, every moment in your life becomes a meditation. You were just that present with the breath, with every act that you commit, right? When in the Western world, when we think of meditation, we think of home, right? We think of, sitting like this on the floor, eyes closed, right? And you're not speaking, you just enter the void of darkness and, you just sit there in silence. And yes, to all of that, but it becomes deeper when you are wide awake, you are self-aware, you're aware of the external world around you, you're aware of the internal world inside you, and you are very much like in alignment of that present moment, and you are of breath, and the breath is you, and you see the connection and the action and what you're doing, and it is quite profound. And so a thought came to me the other day in meditation. I'm like, what if I made the mundane, boring acts in my life that bring me very little joy, it's just like a normal necessity, right? What if I brought presence to that act? For example, taking out the garbage. Not the greatest, not the most exciting thing to do. No. But it's almost like bringing presence into it, giving it more of an intention behind what you're doing, right? Not looking at it as a burden of, oh God, another thing I have to do. Oh, I got to clean the toilet. Oh, I got to wash the dishes. Oh, I got to do my laundry. Oh, I have to brush my teeth. I'm so tired. Oh, I have to jump in the shower. Because sometimes for those of us that have very busy, very full lives, and we don't have a lot of downtime to relax, just the smallest things turn into the biggest chores. But yeah, I'll use the taking out the trash as an example of one of many. So you see your trash can. You see it has a slight odor. You cut up onions the other night, okay? And you're like, okay, and it's getting full, right? Now, yes, you have 20 other things to do, but you approach your trash can. You approach the bag, and you're like, I have to remove this. And when you're thinking of it, you're present with that behavior, with that act of that present moment. It's a removing of old energy, right? That you're removing from your sacred space, your holy space, and you're taking outside into a new space, right? I know you're probably thinking like, Nadja, you're doing too much. Okay, it's just trash, all right? But yes, it is. It's just very mundane thing, right? But you're bringing presence into it, right? You take the bag, you're breathing in that moment. You're bringing in breath, inhaling, exhaling. As you're lifting up the lid, you're picking up the bag, you're tying it, and you place it to the side. You get a new bag. You open it up. You place it into the can. You close the top. Put on your little shoes or your slippers, and you walk down the stairs, breathing in, breathing out. Oh, you're outside. You're breathing in fresh air as you're walking to the bigger trash dump, okay? And all the while, it's just a process, and then you come into your home, you take off your slippers, the energy has changed. It's shifted into your space because you removed something that was old. You're present with that. I know this may sound completely nuts, but yes, and I'll get to how it all ties to worth and self-worth, okay? Another mundane thing that you can make magical. Hot tea, okay? Your favorite beverage. Now, I do not drink alcohol, and I do not drink caffeine. If I do drink caffeine, it's usually from drinking kombucha. I always say kombucha, and it'll have some traces of caffeine in it, some stronger than others, but typically my favorite drink in the whole wide world is ginger tea. I like to make like root tea. You just get a root from your store or farmer's market, chop it up, boil the water, I let it, simmer in there for about 8 minutes. I like it nice and strong and spicy, and then I drink it. And this mundane task, right? This one actually I really enjoy. And so it's always very ritualistic. Like I have my favorite big mug, and then I dice it up and I go check on it, and I take in that aroma. But again, it's my point is making the mundane magical will bring you into the present moment. And here's the thing, a lot of the time we will subconsciously devalue our lives because it's not exciting enough. For example, as you can see, I have a lot of artwork, okay? Currently working on projects, but this is a small portion of what I've done, what I'm doing, and what I will do, okay, as you can see. But also, I'm a musician as well, and I'll use my past as a my past musical work. So I have another YouTube channel, very low subscribers. That doesn't matter to me, right? If anything, it's more about quality than anything else. And there was a moment in 2020 to 2021, I was teaching myself for 2 years straight. I was teaching myself sound engineering and music production on my own garage band. I didn't have the state of the art programs that are out there, okay? The best mics and the best tools and the best lighting and the best, hookup. I just told myself I am going to do what I'm going to do with what I have and allow it to unfold as it may. And I will say that, oftentimes with the things that we are creating, or that are tasks that we do, that we commit ourselves to, we kind of have to check in and say, am I doing this out of love? Am I doing this out of necessity? And is there value in what I'm doing? And a lot of the time we will compare ourselves at times, We're in the digital era, social media era. Everyone's comparing and contrasting every little thing. I mean, everybody's doing it. We all do it. It's part of human nature to compare and contrast in a falsified, illusion-filled reality. And at times we will feel bad. Our self-worth will kind of go down because, oh, look how boring my life is. I've lived in this town for so and so years, or I don't have this amount of money, or I don't have this. My project isn't, attracting enough. Or I don't have enough traction on my website, or I don't have this, I don't have that. So we enter into this space of lack. Right? And so when we introduce magic into the mundane tasks of our lives, our lives become magical. The very little things, brushing your teeth in the morning, picking out your next outfit for the next day, right? There are some people who take enormous pride in picking their outfits. Me, not so much. I like to look cute, and I like to look authentic, and I like to express myself and have my own little flair, but I don't really have a set style, if you will. I really don't, because my emphasis never really been on how I look, you know what I'm saying, and the clothes that I wear. And for some other people, it's the shoes that they wear, or some other people, it's the type it's their morning coffee, like just the little things that make us human. They matter, right? And they really do. A lot of the big things, like falling in love, starting a new job, traveling overseas, buying a home, starting a business, it's like more people take notice of that because are having a baby, or a death, or a loss of something. Most people will gravitate towards those really big happenings, but a lot of the time I find we humans tend to bypass the small little things, right? The little magical moments in our lives. And we equate that to our value. And I think we must be mindful and heartful of this, to not allow ourselves, to don't devalue yourself because what you do isn't magical enough, or it's not Instagram worthy, or it's not up to your standard, or up to society's standard, or up to what the group of people you're trying to impress. You always must come back to yourself and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And yes, self-care, hygiene, all these things, the hygiene of your home. Your home is your palace. Your home is a reflection of your inner world. And when you take more and more and more pride into that, right, you begin to reflect that out into the world more, and then you keep getting it back. if I showed you the state of my apartment, which is not completely filthy, don't get me wrong, but I definitely have pockets of disorganization. And so that to me is mirroring parts of myself that aren't completely organized. I'm in the middle of a really big transition in my life, juggling a full-time job and a possible second job, and then, managing two separate courses. It's a lot. but I know I'm capable of doing it. And so I just wanted to share with you this new practice. It's not woo woo, okay? It's not too crazy in the new agey, type of thing, but it really is. It kind of ties back into my last topic from last month on presence and bringing presence and bringing value. Because when we're present with what we're doing, we bring value to what we do. We bring more value to what we are creating in that moment, no matter how minuscule, no matter how tiny, no matter how mundane, right? And so I will leave you with this, and share with me, the little things that you don't, like, you kind of just bypass. You don't really think of it, right? You don't think of it with the, like, for example, the meal that you make. Like, I have a very mono diet, okay? And I've recently, have made a bigger change in my diet. So I no longer eat dairy. I definitely don't eat meat, but I no longer eat dairy or high processed breads and things of that nature. And so, but it's in turn has made meal prepping incredibly easy for me. I don't stress about it anymore. It's so fast, and I'm getting my nutrients. I feel full with what I incorporate in my diet, and I feel nurtured. I'm not hungry. I'm not stress eating. It's amazing. But with that, for those of us that eat the similar thing every single day, right? Pretty, not every single day. I have maybe 2 to 3 things different meals I like to make, but bringing the magic into the monotony, especially those of us that, if you're into like practices that involve a lot of discipline, like with Ashtanga yoga, sometimes it's hard to get up at the butt-ass crack of dawn to move my body and contort my body in ways that if I don't get enough sleep, I'm not happy. But, or one more thing, bringing more love and presence into my Ashtanga, which Ashtanga actually does. It helps with the breath work. Is amazing. But sleep, rest. I didn't realize how severe my sleep avoidance has been in the past 2 years. And I think it had a lot to do with anxiety, work anxiety, school anxiety. Like I was, I was in grad school, part-time, working full-time, working 2 jobs. Like it was too much. And so I would almost do like this payback thing of, well, since I have no real control over my schedule anyway, then this is my time. This is my free time. I'm going to stay up, right? And now I'm like, whoa, I'm taking a step back. Like drinking more water, mundane, right? You don't think about it, or you even forget. But getting enough sleep is so crucial. I had an acquaintance this past summer that we met, and so his approach to sleep, it made me think. I'm like, his sleeping patterns are completely different from mine. That's for sure. More of a night owl than anything else, but it made me like, we were have discussions on sleep, and it's like, and now I'm like going to bed not much earlier, but making sure I'm getting that chunk where my body can feel rested. And I've done this for the past several days, and I'm seeing the difference already. Because the latest I stayed up was like almost 1:30 one day last week, and I was foggy, In the mind, I couldn't speak right. I could tell I was just drained by Friday. And so just the things that we don't really think matters most, because when those big moments happen in our lives, new job, relocating, new relationship, new baby, opening up a business, all this stuff, when we're taking care of ourselves and prioritizing ourselves through these mundane, these magical moments, I like to say, these little magical moments, when those big changes and transitions in our lives come up, we feel we're centered and we're anchored within ourselves. When you're getting enough sleep, enough rest, when you're drinking enough fluids, water, when you are taking out the trash, when you're flossing your teeth, when you put a little effort into how you style your hair, or when you are mindful of wrapping around your favorite scarf, it's almost like you're feeding and nurturing your spirit. So when those challenging times come, you have ammo. You have metaphysical ammo. You're good. Maybe not all the way good, because challenges are challenges, but you have invested in yourself enough to where you can get through those challenges without completely falling apart. So may this message find you well and whole. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you again. Goodbye.